Alright, time for another draftphysics.com video presentation. Debate physics also, but nobody to debate. Yeah, we don't have any challenging argument articulated in any kind of reasonable format to provide you the counter argument to the arguments I have made, and so that's part of this video. I suppose will just be an update video that I have on the website posted now. The last 3 videos, volume 1, 2, and 3 of elemental physics, just going through the basics of 2 plus 2 plus 2 physics. The idea that the entire universal system can be understood as just really simple building blocks, 2 kinds of force. They're basically just like each other, except they're opposite polarity, plus and minus, north, south, red, blue. And 2 kinds of matter, red, blue, north, south, plus, minus. That is the proton and the electron. The neutron is a composite of the electron and the proton. I mean, like, all the evidence points to that fact. So it shouldn't even be called a neutron anymore. It should be called a dipoliton. It's clearly a dipole. It's not a non-pole. It's not non-polar. It's a dipole. But anyway, that's not in the video, that argument. But that's one of the arguments. Well, anyway, and that's all there are. There's no muons and puons and zuons and quarks and dorks and bosoborks and all that stuff. That's all made up crap where they're just measuring the energy of electrons and protons hitting a target. And if they have a certain amount of energy, they say they're a Zorkton, when no, it's just a proton going faster. That's all. Anyway, because they don't have a standard speed, because that's sort of the trick. The force has all of the energy. It's doing the speed of light thing. So the little force bits, the first 2, that's got all the energy. The matter has what you could call all the capacity to absorb energy. That is, to be caused to move and occupy a force in the process. And then there's just 2 interactions. So it's just 2 kinds of force, 2 kinds of matter, and 2 kinds of interactions. The interaction could be you hit it and push it, or the interaction is you hit it and go through it and change from a plus to a minus, or from a north to a south, or from a positive to a negative, from a blue to a red, and that's it. So with that simple mechanism, you can create all the phenomena of charge and magnetism and electricity and gravity. It's all explained, and it's all simple and mechanical, and apparently you're not persuaded that the universe is simple like that. It's mechanical. You rather believe in a bunch of wooey-tons flying through space in all kinds of funny ways, or some sort of ethery stuff, and it's all kind of, waving everywhere and wooey crap. You rather believe in that crap than the simple evolution theory, right? You rather have your little heaven stories and your emeralds and, whatever. The heaven story is so stupid I can't even paraphrase it in any kind of rational way. But you like the idea of going to eternal hells or something, or purgatory, or whatever. And you don't like this simple mechanical DNA process. The molecule is evolving. It makes eccentricity. It doesn't really make complexity. It just makes eccentricity. It doesn't perfect anything. It just makes things fit. Little niches that aren't being exploited. So it's just an exploitness molecule. It just exploits. It just makes the perfect exploitnist. That's too ugly a truth for you people. Yeah. Can't handle reality. Alright, anyway. So, I don't even know who I'm talking to, right? Frankly, so many people are so dumb and so corrupt and have so little integrity that someone said, ooh, why am I even talking to human beings? I mean, I just ought to throw messages in a literal bottle, and shoot it into space and hope some intelligent something exists out there that will read it and say, oh gee, I sympathize with your problem. Boy, you live on a planet full of lying, scummy, exploiting this shit. Ew. It's just terrible. They can't make a counter argument. I mean, you argue something for just about 10 years and they can't make reasonable counter arguments. Ew. I mean, ew. It's disgusting. So anyway, those 3 videos, all under a half an hour, some under 15 minutes actually. And then I made a couple of videos on the kinetic energy subject specifically. So I made the rocket and gun argument, pointing out how if you really could, if you had brains and you could actually use your brains in some sort of scientific way, and you imagined empty space and the absence of, gooey frictional forces and air drag and all that kind of stuff, and you tried to do these little experiments in your brain, thought experiments, like you did them inside your head and you ran the experiment because you have knowledge of mechanics. And if you actually did that in any kind of honest way, you have to realize that, oh yeah, the gun has to have the same energy as the bullet. It's impossible for the bullet to have 2,000 joules of energy, watts of heat potential, and the gun to only have 2. That violates Newton's third law, and it means you're creating energy. I can't create energy. I have to steal it from somebody. You all know that, right? You have to steal the energy. You can't create energy. Come on, are you too stupid? Are you that stupid? Alright, so the gun argument's pretty convincing, but the lever argument is even better. So I did that a few days before. Yeah, there it is. The lever argument. Matter is the only real energy. It's just a plain, simple fact. I make the argument. Leibniz died a failure. Okay, he didn't articulate a persuasive argument because he had no evidence of his theory. It wasn't real. Nothing in the real world worked the way he was predicting it worked. Galileo, Descartes, and Newton all got right answers using momentum as their theory of energy. Anyway, so that's in there, but the lever's in there. It's the simplest way, the simplest mechanical device that makes it impossible for there to be any theoretical ground to believe in your free energy theories. Because we'd have free energy if your theories were correct. It would be impossible to evade all the free energy we would have. We would be making it all the time. We would be tripping over all the free energy. But the very fact that that's been a truth for 400 years, and you've been denying it for 350 years in this silly way to glorify absolute mush, that you had to put a half in front of it, right? The mush was so bad, you had to put a half in front of it to fix it. It was so bad. Your answers were so far off. You had to concede, oh, we have to fix this. We'll sneak a half in front of it, so it's only half as shitty. We'll only lie half of the amount of time. We'll only connive and steal and thieve and distort and lie half the time. Oh, fuck. Just, yeah. Humans are just such scum. Damn, and you just keep proving it. You just keep proving my theory that humans are just scum. Ugh. Anyway. So I don't think there's much else to say. It's just so bad. So yeah, there's the lever argument. Only 12 minutes. 12 minutes where you just have to point out. So in a sense,
the lever becomes a free energy.
Yes, a lever is a free energy device by their theory. So if their theory is correct, we have free energy sitting there right in front of us. It's there all the time. We're tripping over it all the time. And somehow we just can't figure out how to utilize all the free frickin' energy. God damn, oh, God, you people are just so fucking dumb. Alright, It's so dishonest, Bureau. You're just so fucking dishonest. Oh. To think they have any legs at all to stand on. I mean, you point out, that, just to change the subject a little, the Eddington experiment is just so bad. It's so bad. In his own journal, the guy says, I wouldn't stake my life on these results. And then the New York Times headline is, Einstein proven right. I mean, that fact alone should be enough. But the fact that it's also in his journal that I was expecting 10,000 stars per photograph, and I only got 1,000. He got 10% of the data quality. The data was 10% of his expectations. It's already a very difficult experiment, insanely difficult, insane precision, insane, just tiny, tiny little margins of error can throw the whole thing to hell. And he has 10% of the data he was expecting going in. 10%. I mean, it's like having 10% of your legs in a horse race or something. What the fuck? You people can't smell the crap? And instead you defend the bullshit all the way. Just disgusting. All right, so I'll read a couple of just two stupid comments, but whatever. All right, stupid comment number 1 by the ING retard. Okay, so he can't make a real argument in any form. He can just type these, 3-sentence horseshit statements now and then, where he proves nothing, he cites nothing, and it's just crap. Okay, your mistake. Now, I didn't make a mistake. Your mistake is somehow you grew up and you think you can counter-argue these kinds of videos with these 1-sentence, 2-sentence, 3-sentence rubbish when you haven't dealt with a single one of the arguments. You just evade every single point made, Eddington's own confessions in his journal. What's your explanation? Do you have any? No. So you don't deal with any of the arguments actually made. The fact that Leibniz made so bad an argument that absolutely nobody was convinced by it. I mean, except for a few wackos in Germany or something. But I mean, nobody bought it. All right. Your mistake is the erroneous assumption. So there's nothing erroneous about the assumption in the sense that it's proven every day by scales. So he's saying it's erroneous to understand that when you put a 1-mass object over here, it's exactly the same as the 2-mass here. Twice the distance is exactly the same. This side of the lever can't tell the difference. You, if you were turning the lever, wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Now, I challenge you to come up with a single piece of evidence that any human being on Earth could tell the difference, that they could turn. I could put a 1-mass out here and a 2-mass here, and they could turn it in blocks, and they would be able to predict which one was which. They can't. Just like if I took magnets and had north-south, and then I'd switch it to a south-north and turned it. They couldn't tell the difference. They couldn't say, which one was the South Pole, which one was the North Pole. It's a ridiculous assertion by you that there's a single shred of evidence that anybody can tell that difference, because the scale can't tell the difference. The scale proves it by balancing, dumbass. It couldn't balance, dumbass, if it wasn't an equality. It has to be equal, because the scale is proving it's equal. Oh, God. That there is no difference in the force required to accelerate the lever. There's no difference from the lever's perspective, because the lever moves. When there's a 2-mass here and a 1-mass or a 1-mass here, the lever moves identically in both circumstances. If I put a 1-mass here or I put a 2-mass here, it doesn't matter what's over here, this will move exactly the same. It'll swing at exactly the same speed. Every piece, every atom will move exactly the same. 1-mass here, 2-mass there. No difference. And you haven't provided any evidence that that is a wrong assumption. Or that it's fucking erroneous. It's clearly not erroneous because, frankly, I've seen it. I've seen scales work. Okay. The force required to accelerate the lever is the same angular velocity in both cases. It doesn't matter about the angular velocity. It only matters about how much momentum or energy it actually takes to cause the motion. Obviously, light things move faster. They have a different angular velocity. So what? That part of the lever moves exactly the same speed when I put the 2 mass in the other location. It doesn't change what that part of the lever does. It does exactly the same thing. Alright. But you're too stupid. There's just no point. Too stupid. Just defend the crap. Defend the dogma, the religious crap. Invented by a religious kook who basically said to Newton and Descartes, "Your physics is too atheist." He said those words. This is what you're defending as science. You're pathetically dupey. I mean, you're such a dupe. Ugh. Alright, moving on. Alright, well, yeah, I won't even bother reading. I mean, I won't show this comment because it's just too stupid. Already blocked the, whatever, friction is fake is his stupid name. He's just an idiot. The history of an idea literally doesn't matter at all. Of course it matters. Of course it matters on the integrity of the testimony of a witness. Alright? I mean, it's a huge piece of evidence when you're trying to prove the absolute falseness of something. Now, the fact that there's no evidence in a circumstance, right? You don't have any evidence, no fingerprints, you don't have this or that, but you have an eyewitness. The only thing that matters is the integrity of the witness. That'll be everything, because you don't have anything else. You don't have any evidence of kinetic energy, so the only part of this thing that matters is the story being told. Who told the story first? Where does the story come from? Alright, so if I want to prove God to be a fable, it would be perfect evidence if I could actually have videotape of the guys who invented the bullshit. You know, where we actually see them at the table saying, well, let's put this in, let's take that out. You know, there's no God involved in writing the Bible. So if you could prove the Bible was not written by God, or somebody inspired by God, or, you know, that there was a break in the chain of the 10 Commandments and their articulation in the Bible in English, you know, that there's a huge breakdown somewhere in there. If you can prove that, well, it just breaks the whole story. It tells you, yes, it's a fable. It's a 3 pig story. It's nothing but mush. So it's hugely important. All right. Momentum or kinetic energy could have been invented by retarded chimpanzees. Yes, now if there was a bunch of evidence for it, then it wouldn't matter. But there isn't any. So if a chimpanzee says, mv squared, 1/2 mv squared, you know, by accident, all right, and then you just believe it because a chimpanzee told you, that's the definition of retarded. Because frankly, there's no evidence. So if you're lacking any evidence that it's true, then you have to go back to the source and say, well, of course there's no evidence for it. A fucking chimpanzee invented it. Who ate their own turds, and it would look. You shouldn't be insulting fucking chimpanzees. Frankly, as a human being, you really have no business when you look at the scum walking the streets of fucking humanity. If you go out and look at the fucktards walking the streets, calling themselves human. I'm superior. Go look at that shit. Alright, and then insult a chimpanzee. Fucking idiot. Alright, it would have no bearing on the utility, productive power of either of those ideas. What? The idea of energy is what we're talking about, and what we're really talking about is your fucking idiotic definition of what it is. So there are theories of what it is, and they're complete contradiction. So yes, energy has utility. Rotten, stupid, moronic ideas don't. So false notions, like I said, who knows where we would have been, in the last 100 or 200 years. We could have had a much better technical revolution if you actually got these answers right instead of wrong. But you certainly have no evidence that we've utilized the productive power of nonsense. No, we've utilized energy by being ambiguous, not worrying about what it really is, just understanding that you follow it around. So again, quantum mechanics didn't invent the computer. It didn't invent the transistor. It didn't invent the integrated circuit. That's all lies. Simple experimentation did it. Okay? The photoelectric effect back in 1920 whatever was already the first glimmer of the invention of the transistor. It was already shown to you. You didn't need a theory to understand it. Okay, you could see it mechanically happen, and all they did was perfect the mechanical event, isolate it and perfect it, take the heat out of it. Oh, you people are just such scummy liars. Ugh. Yuck. All right, so last comment is just, I mean, just these, flat Earth kooker, types all this crap. He's on some sort of free energy agenda, save the planet, and he can't even bother with an icon. Just types all this crap about the free energy, surrounding temperature. How might we obtain energy from surrounding temperature? May we? I mean, obviously he's not even English speaking. Might we build thermal motor with 100% efficiency? Question mark. You're so fucking dumb. You really think it's like, that's like trying to collect the energy from the waves you make in a bathtub. With 100% efficiency. I mean, even if you were 100% efficient, it's not enough energy to barely light an LED for, a few moments. I mean, the volume to take advantage of any, convection happening in the atmosphere requires a device that's gigantic. How can you have 100% efficiency when you have to spend $1 billion to make the machine to collect it? That can't be 100% efficient. There's no energy that's ever going to be 100% efficient because you have to make a device to convert it into useful energy. And if you have to collect it on a monstrous scale, like giant windmills, all that kind of crap, the energy is feeble. I mean, the amount you're getting per dollar you put in isn't competitive with just pump some oil out of the ground. That's the standard, moron. The price of energy is dependent on how much does it cost you to collect it. Now, you can collect energy from ocean waves. They have lots of energy. But again, you got to make a big, giant device that can stand, incredible abuse and corrosion and all kinds of stuff. So it's expensive to collect that energy. It's not cheap to make the machine. Now, in the long run, over 20 years or 40 years, very efficient. I mean, the Hoover Dam has been hugely efficient, but you had to put a pile of money in, and nobody wants to invest in the future. So, there are energy equations that can solve our problems, in terms of making us less polluting, but they all have a cost. I mean, the Hoover Dam heats the water and kills the fish and harms the environment. Just a fact. That you pay for it. Now, I'd say it's a price worth paying because it's better than burning fossil fuels. Okay, environmentally better. But you don't really understand this subject at all. You're a retard. And here you are to save the planet. You think you're going to do that with this drivel. So I'm not going to bother reading. It's all just drivel. Just a bunch of mush about how he thinks he's there. He's like that moron that, what's it, Richie Rich or whatever his name is. That silly Australian kook who thinks he has an anti-gravity machine. Oh, God. I mean, these people are so pathetically lost in their delusions. I mean, they're just schizophrenics. I mean, there's so many humans that are apparently, schizophrenic. They really have delusions of their grandeur, and they have their little government conspiracy theories, and I mean, the Richie Rich guy thinks, I can't talk about it because the government will come for me. I mean, it's the cliche kooker. I mean, It's just so pathetic. Nobody gets them any help. Instead, they just encourage them to be delusional kooks. Anyway, but all this mush, it's just mush. I mean, all crap that's been proven forever to be impossible. If there was free energy, idiot, we'd already have it. There's lots of smart people, okay, trying to engineer devices. And they're trying really, really, really hard. And they can't succeed because it can't be done. You have to steal energy from a cycle. And the cycles are all either, the small ones are very weak and the big ones are really expensive to tap. Oh, God, people are just so fucking dumb. Alright, so what do we have? Just block him. You're really not making a contribution. This channel is about arguing my counter theory to the conventional stupid theory. My mission here isn't to disprove every wacko who thinks he has an anti-gravity device. No, that's not my job. I'm not here to debunk flat earthers, or flatheaders, or free energyers. Okay. Shit, I just hate this planet. It's like every week something happened. Like it was very sad last week for the warbles thing, and then this week I'm having some issues with, government officials. They're just such liars. And you have to record everything. They just lie. And you're just like, what is this? Where does this scum come from? How do how does this scum be allowed to walk this planet? I mean, all the people are just so corrupt that they don't want to pass a law about being a scummy liar. They just let the scummy liars rule the world. It's just so disappointing that there isn't even enough people to make a peep against the scummy liars. Ugh, it's disgusting. The corrupt, thieving, scummy public servants. Ugh. Ugh. Alright, so that's enough. So, till the next time and such. I said scummy liars, and I'm putting this video up on YouTube. Oh no. Gee, I'm gonna have my whole channel exterminated. It's just such a silly world. So fucking silly. So anyway, this has been a draftphysics.com. Debate physics also, but nobody can do that as a decent, upright, intelligent, reasoning, capable person. Just can't do it. They can't make a single fucking reasonable counter argument. Ugh. Pathetic. Believe what I believe or else I'll slander you. It's all they can see. It's their hate.